I think he's a smart, very intelligent
yeah.
guy. But you can't have an Indian leading the country.
I want a black guy do it.
That's fine. I'll tell you why.
Okay,
Let me tell you why.
okay.
All right. You have. Let's think of the. Welcome, everybody, to this week's episode of the In the Bank podcast, episode 24. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest to ever do it. This episode is for you. Here we are again, featuring your two hosts, myself, Rohan Kapoor, and Jackson. Jackson, how you doing, dude?
I'm good. I got the Dan Campbell Special here from Starbucks. It's the Venti Pike with a shot of espresso. It's about 600 milligrams of caffeine. I'm not a coffee drinker, but needed it this morning, so I'm feeling jazzed right now. We got to light the beam, too. I think that thing's on your side.
All right, well, let's light the beam also. Tradition. Let's see. This thing runs on like AAA battery, so one day the beam just might not light on us.
might just die in the middle.
It might just not light on us. All right, the beam is lit. The Dan Campbell Special. How much did you pay for that?
It was like $2.50.
Oh, okay, that's not bad.
No, it's just straight black coffee. Actually, it was $3.50 because I got the shot of espresso. But what he does two of those bad boys every day.
Yeah.
So he gets like 1,200 milligrams. That guy's a dog, but he drinks it every day. I rarely drink coffee, so this is gonna be like a shot of adrenaline to me.
Do you know what I've heard? I've never done this, but you know what I've heard is very good to like get you like kind of energetic in the morning? What? Cocaine.
Oh yeah, I've heard that too. I've heard that too.
Right, we're kind of close to the border, so it's actually a lot cheaper. That's actually why, fun fact, it's actually why a lot of homeless people are going towards Phoenix. I didn't realize this, but when you get drugs, it is cheaper the closer you get to the border. So you see people from Oregon and stuff, a lot of them are coming to Phoenix because the drugs are significantly cheaper.
That's interesting.
Yes. No, it's very great. So they will save up money for a bus ticket. And like you got to understand too, that's a great financial investment. That's just smart thinking.
Well, yeah, like the return over time, especially if you're buying a lot of drugs, that's definitely worth it. Is that why LA is good too? Because LA is like close to the border and it's nice to the homeless. Like you don't, because like here, like we have an interesting history with the homeless. Like probably before you started living here, there's a guy named Sheriff Joe. You know who that is?
Nah.
So he was the sheriff of Arizona for a long fucking time, Sheriff Joe Arpaio. And he made this prison. It was called Tent City. And it was like out in the desert and the buildings were made of tin. And it was like you were cooking in an oven in this thing. So that's one thing he did. And then, so he was a cool guy for that. And then he was not cool with homeless people. Like it was very tough. And then he's not the sheriff anymore. And he was like he's like huge, like right wing, like old white fart kind of guy, the type, you know. And was really not nice to homeless people. He's not the guy anymore. And I think now they're nicer to homeless people, and so they're starting to come here more.
So, well, I know Phoenix is having a bunch of issues with the homeless problem. Where did he set up that prison? Is it still up?
That's a good question. I think it's down. It's like north.
Okay.
So it's like on the opposite end of where we are.
Okay.
And
so like more towards like Flagstaff area?
It's like it's not towards Flagstaff. It's more from where we are. It's towards Flagstaff. Okay. But it's like on the edge of city north.
So there's just no AC in there?
Right. I don't know if that's 100% true, but it's not on.
Okay.
If they have it, it might be the law for them to have it, but they don't turn that fucker on.
Well, dude, I don't know if you've not been to India before, but dude, that's just traditional housing in India, bro.
Yeah.
And then going back to your point about the homeless people in LA, well, people are just homeless in LA because rent prices are just too much. So people just find it more beneficial to live in their car.
Right.
And then people that are like homeless, every homeless person you see in Arizona, they're on fentanyl. Like the crazy ones, the majority of them are like on fentanyl. They're all doing drugs. It is really sad. You know, I'm not gonna make any jokes about it unless there right to my face, because then
Yeah.
it's like it's just a fucking clown show. In Los Angeles, people like they become homeless because they can't get a job, and then they're like, "Well, I'm just against like landlords."
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Dude, I'm just like against like landlords. I'm doing this to fight the system." Right? In LA, like a homeless person probably would have made you that coffee and then went to go sleep on Rodeo Drive.
Yeah, I think I've said this on the show before. If I have, forgive me. But when I lived in the Bay Area for a while, and there was this golf course that you would play. It was kind of like a lower level, wasn't super expensive. And I would play it, and there was it was like fenced off, and around it was near the airport, San Jose Airport. If you know the area, there's a huge homeless camp there, and around it there was a bunch of homeless people around this golf course, and I shit you not, like 4 of the tents. So you go play 18, and every hour you're gonna see a tent with solar panels on it.
And really,
100%.
I didn't even know that was possible. Dude, solar is not cheap.
I know that
it is not cheap.
They got solar panels on their homeless tent, and they all have like cars and stuff. It's like a little civilization.
That's when you know California has become so gay, when it's like when somebody's homeless and their biggest concern is saving.
I have solar.
No, I mean it's like they have a sign. I mean, it might be like either they're too honest or they're just really gay, because like they can. Because imagine if like you're holding a sign, right, and you know how San Francisco is like, I need to please spare change. I need to put solar panels on my tent right now.
Right.
I'm off of coal. Like, you gotta kind of respect it, bro. Like, I mean, and then it's, you know,
Yeah.
or maybe the city pays for it, knowing how Newsom runs things.
There's a lot of unemployment up there that people make, I think, and then I'm sure a lot of them have like a regular day job. They might work like 32 hours. You don't pay rent.
So
they get like $16 an hour up there, minimum wage.
Well, I call it. Well, okay. Once again, let me differentiate between Arizona bums and California bums. In Arizona, these guys are tweaked out. Now in California, 100%. They're all very lax. You know, they just shit wherever they want, and they're all very hippy dippy. Now in terms of what you just said with, holy fuck, my mind just blanked out. In terms of what you just said with, like, you know, them not working, they don't work. It's not It's not called unemployment in California. It's called the It's called the It's called the war against working. That's what they call it in California. People in California do not like to work.
No, 100%.
Like, I mean, nobody likes to actually go to work, right? But
they just don't.
They just don't do it.
They just don't.
They protest. That's their big thing.
Well,
there.
that's, if you listen to the conspiracy guys, people say that's what their job is people pay them to go protest.
Really?
So like
Soros pays them?
I don't think so. Like,
yes, he does.
Well, maybe, yeah. Fuck George Soros. But
no, he does. Say he does.
He does.
All right, good job.
George Soros pays people to protest. But
this is gonna be. We're gonna get our channel
right. But people will say like that no one actually cares about whatever rally it is. They're all just being paid to be there as homeless people, and that's happened before. But I'm sure it's also not happened. You know what I mean?
Well, people who show up to protest normally are unemployed. Like,
right.
It's not like if you're at a protest blocking traffic on a Tuesday at 7, you don't have a job.
Yeah. Well, you know who Jordan Peterson is, right?
Yes.
So whatever you think of the guy, very controversial, but he does say something funny. He's like, because he would get his college protests, or college speeches protests at the time. He's like, I fixed it by scheduling them at 8 in the morning. No one cared anymore, which is hilarious to me.
Yeah, I know. When me and my friend, when we were in high school, we wanted to go see like just Ben Shapiro at Berkeley. Not like I didn't care much about like like Ben Shapiro's a little nerd. He's kind of funny, right? It's like he's like a guy who's like, you give a wedge, he's like like you know what I mean. Like, he played the violin. Dude's a dork, right?
Yeah,
intelligent guy.
Yeah,
but he's a dork, right?
He's not hurting anybody. He's fine.
Yeah, so we wanted to go there. You know, you're in high school. My YouTube mixtape was Ben Shapiro Owns the Libs. Right. That's like, it's like recommended Ben Shapiro Owns the Libs Part 7. And I watched till like Part 16, Part 17. Yeah. So we wanted to go see him beat up on some like communist kids at Berkeley. But my dad, he was like, dude, if you go there trying to watch it at UC Berkeley, somebody's going to try to stab you.
Yeah.
Somebody was going to try. And I don't remember if they shut it down or not. Me and my friend were like, yeah, dude, we're going to get, because he was a white guy. We're like, dude, he's going to get fucking killed. Like, they're going to shoot this thing up. It probably ended up actually getting shut down because of how this is like the kind of the Trump era. So things were very crazy at this point in time, you know?
Especially up there, a lot of feelings. But yeah, man. Well, what's cool about those things, and who's the Turning Point guy?
Turning Point guy.
Charlie Kirk.
Oh, okay,
Yeah. So when they go do these things at colleges, it's almost like a WWE event. You know, like they're not going like they're not going to have like, you know, they say like, oh, I'm going to like have a conversation, and it's like, that's not what they've done this enough times to where they know what they're getting the clip of the blue hair person, and they get to just fucking dunk on them.
The big nose ring. I bet you. Well, okay, and let's be clear. This is not a political podcast.
No,
we are not alt-right, right? We are not alt-right.
I don't vote.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, if I do go vote and the line's too long, I am going right back home and I will crank one out.
Yeah.
And I will feel more proud of myself that I cranked one out than sitting in that long line.
You're getting more done.
I'm significantly more done if I crank one out than fucking waiting in a voting line like an idiot, filling in a little. Like, dude, I don't like taking tests either. I'll probably start stressing out when I see the Scantron.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm not. Listen, we're not. This is not a political. We just like the funny things. For one, now let's go both sides of the political spectrum. And this is why I think we both don't give two shits about politics. We just kind of like whatever. All they do is they just fucking argue with people significantly more stupid than them. Like, let's look at the two extremes. You look at like Hassan Piker.
I don't even know who that is.
He's that Twitch streamer who like says America deserved like 9/11. I
don't know.
He's okay. Let me give you context. Okay. He's cousins with Cenk, the Young Turks guy.
Okay.
So yeah. All right. So that's the context, and he does everything that Cenk does, but on Twitch. So to more incels, right? And he's one of those guys who speaks with very big words, right? And you're like, dude, that doesn't even make sense. Like, right. And then you have, I don't know, like Charlie Kirk or like Ben Shapiro, where they just go, like, it's like 16, 17-year-old kids who, like, with nose rings, like, clearly lost right now. This is clearly a phase, right? And they read 2 pages of a communist book, right? Because they couldn't afford the library card. They got kicked out of the library. And then they're just making fun of them. You know, like, these guys dedicate their whole lives to talking points about capitalism, and they're trying to create social media clips, you know. So both of those sides suck.
Yeah.
It doesn't get you anywhere. It alienates you, or it alienates each side a little more, but they both suck, but it creates incredible content.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, like, there's a lot of it is shifting towards, it's like not politics, it's entertainment now.
No, it is entertainment.
It's like I was like WWE, it's like when Trump walks out to one of these rallies, it's like a stone cold Steve Austin. Like, guys are throwing beers, like fucking, you know, it's like, it is an event. Like, people go nuts.
Well,
and he just goes up there and talks shit, you know? Like, it's totally entertainment. Like, it's a different deal now.
While we're talking, can you bring up the Trump WNBA speech? Put it on here one sec. I think that's why so many people love the guy, because he was just funny as hell, right? There's Ron DeSantis, fucking snooze fest, boring as shit, nobody cares.
Yeah.
And then there's obviously Vivek Ramaswamy. He's an Indian. Listen, I am an Indian. I don't know much about Vivek's politics, but the only White House an Indian person belongs in is the Taj Mahal. I do not want to see an Indian person.
I actually like that Vivek guy.
Listen, I think he's a smart, very intelligent guy, but you can't have an Indian leading the country.
I want a black guy do it.
That's fine. I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why. Okay. All right. You have... Let's think of the most powerful leaders in just history in general, right? You think of George Washington. He went and he fought in the Civil War. All right. You think of, I don't know, like Fidel Castro. He's a big one. He fought. He was on the lines. He fought, right? Or like Putin, he was a spy and he like really fought for his country.
Okay.
Who the most popular Indian
Right.
is Gandhi.
Yeah.
He went on a keto diet. That was his fighting. He didn't pick up a gun.
Okay.
He said, buddy, no, we're going to go keto. Okay, like that's what when they said, no, let's go shoot back at the Brits. He's like, no, we're going to go gluten-free. Kind of gay. And the Indian accent is just so goofy. Like, can you imagine an Indian guy? Everybody follow me. Like, it just doesn't work, dude.
So
it doesn't work.
2 questions. You're not supposed to ask double questions, but I'm about to do it
Okay.
right now. First question. I don't know. So Gandhi, I like Vivek. Actually, first question sucks. Second question. Is that so? I've seen both Vivek. There's this guy on YouTube. I don't know his name. It's escaping me. I wish I knew it. Mm-hmm. And then I've heard you do it now a few times too. Like that accent.
Yeah.
You guys like switch between it.
Which one?
The Indian accent. Like Vivek, so he speaks like a white guy when he's doing politics stuff, right? He comes out, he's very like enunciative. It sounds like Dave Chappelle's white guy impression. It's so white. Yeah. But then he'll like switch. It's almost like he goes Manchurian Candidate and goes the accent.
Okay, so let me add to that. So when you are let's backtrack a little. So what is politics in America? A lot of it's just negotiating between world leaders, right?
Right.
Have you ever tried to negotiate with an Indian before?
I have actually.
Okay, not me, but like
tried to get their time.
Yeah, right.
Try to put some time on their calendar.
Exactly. All right. Indians. Now, when you try to negotiate with an Indian, we're naturally very cheap people, and we're very good at gaslighting. We're very good at saying yes, right? Like, I want everybody who's listening to this right now, go to your local 7-Eleven and try to redeem a coupon. All right? Go to a 7-Eleven and try, because the conversation is going to be like this. It's like, all right, it's like, hey, yo, I got this coupon. The Indian's going to say, fantastic. And you're like, yeah, it's 2 hot dogs, and I got the third one 3. That's excellent. And it's like, can I redeem it? Absolutely not. Like, that's how it's, they gaslight you.
Okay.
But that's the Indian coming out of it. So when the politics come, his Indian's going to come out.
Okay.
Right? And it's like, absolutely not. And it's like, why not this 7-Eleven? It's like, get out. It's like, dude, there's just, it becomes, like I said, you've tried to cold call Indian people before. Right. They're like, yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great. I don't have time, man. Like, it's like everything is amazing.
They honey dick you a little bit.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah. Perfect word. Honey dicking. Yeah. Right? That's the one thing. Indians love gaslighting you to like, they're hyping you up. And then when it's time to get the actual money, it's absolutely not. No can do, sir. Okay. So when Vivek is trying to when he's making a speech, he's very white.
Yep.
He's very white. But when the time's to actually act like a politician, when he's sitting at a table, across the Chinese, across the most powerful people, he's going to become very Indian, right? And we can't. So the quick international economics thing, you trade labor for capital. That's that. But we're gonna just call it that simple. You trade labor for capital. You can't have an Indian guy negotiate that because he's going to keep saying yes, 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 and when time's to sign the contract, he's saying no. Go to Target and get me $50 worth of gift cards instead. Like, you can't have an Indian do that. So that is why Vivek is doing the switch, because when it comes to actually act instinctively, his Indian comes out. That's who he is.
Okay.
But when it's time to put on the fake bravado performance, like with the speeches and talking, he becomes a white guy.
Okay.
Hopefully that simplified it.
It helps me understand a little bit. I think I need some more study, but that's interesting. I think from where I'm sitting, like, I kind of like getting someone cheap in there.
But
like, we're getting killed on it. We get some guy, because like you said, like, you and I both know what it's like to get some time on a fucking Indian guy's calendar. Like, it is a war.
Yeah.
And so it's like, we got a bunch of debt as a country. Like, he comes in, is like maybe he can erase the whole thing. Like, that would be huge. He'd be the greatest president ever.
So I mean, like, what's a big thing we negotiate with? Like meats and dairy, right?
Okay. Like, as a country?
Just like Mexico and Canada. I think we do a lot of meat and like dairy trading with Mexico and Canada.
Okay.
I'm just saying, like, within the NAFTA Not NAFTA.
Oh, yeah.
Not
It's,
NAFTA. The whatever the North America.
It is NAFTA, North America Free Trade Act.
Yeah. So within them, we do a bunch of meats and dairy. Well, first off, we have an Indian. We're not getting any more beef into the country.
Yeah.
The cows are coming whole.
I love a good cheeseburger.
The cows are coming whole.
Yeah.
If there's an Indian right in this country, beef prices are going through the fucking roof. All right. We're going to have to get that. There's going to be two ways to get beef. We're not going to be able to get it from Mexico anymore. I actually don't want any dairy products from Canada. It's probably all like soy and like all like, you know, it's probably like titty milk. It's probably not real milk. So fuck Canada. So Mexico, that's the real thing we got to negotiate with. We're not getting any more beef. I don't know. Yeah, we just wouldn't. I don't know, bro. You just can't negotiate with an Indian. You just really can't.
There's an art to it. And I think being around you and just getting reps has taught me some things. And like you said, you just dangle a little carrot.
So we just offer a gift card to them?
Yeah, because like with a so you're negotiating with a white guy, right?
Yeah.
And we're a lot more afraid of the stick.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's like you're trying to get some time with the guy. You start getting him insecure. You try and make him like, oh, like what if something bad happens? Like,
yeah.
You're trying to do that, right? Whereas the Indian guy, like they're not afraid of the stick.
Nah.
Like that, you know.
In India, we get hit with them all the time.
Thank you. I didn't want to say it. Thank you. So you got to dangle the carrot. And so you throw a little, hey, you want a Starbucks card? A little Starbucks card?
Indians love gift cards, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when they scam your grandma, they don't want $1 million in pure liquid cash. They want you to go to Target and get them $500 worth of Amazon gift cards. That's what they want. I mean, that's the. But dude, we can't have. That's what I'm saying. We can't have Vivek negotiate a deal for us, and then he gets on the presser, and our stimulus is $25 GameStop gift cards. We can't do this, bro. It won't work. All right.
I don't know. I think it's time to try.
Amazon would be fine. I wouldn't mind. Like
I'd take an Amazon card.
A quick little Amazon stimmy.
Or just one of those visas you can just use for anything.
I think visas are a little bit tougher with like it's why Indian scammers don't ask for those as much because they're a little bit tougher to redeem.
Okay.
It's like, don't redeem it. You know, have you seen those videos?
No, I haven't.
All right. So when Indian scammers, you got to watch one after this. When Indian scammers call grandmas, right?
Yep.
The big thing is, so this is how one of those Indian scam call centers work. They call an old person and they said, hey, they'll make something up crazy. Like, hey, the president of the United States has just accidentally withdrawn $500,000 from your account to my account. We need to get it back to you, but I need an Amazon gift card to do it, right? And they want like $2,000 worth of Amazon gift cards. And that's why when you go to Target and stuff like that, there's actually a limit to how much gift cards you can purchase.
Okay.
Right? It gets to protect old people. It's a fun fact. It's a very weird thing. So pretty much their goal is they're going to, they most likely won't get a social security or banking information out of these people because they just don't know. But what they can get is gift cards. Because like obviously you can sell gift cards like even for 80%, right? You're still making a profit. Yep. Very easy scams like Google Play, Amazon, and Google Play, Amazon, and like Walmart. I think those were like those are like kind of like the three main ones. And I know this. My cousin works at a call center. So when what do you call it? So once they get the gift cards, the big thing is do not redeem the card onto your own account. Right. They go crazy if you redeem the card onto their own account. Yep. All right. It's an Indian guy. I don't know if you ever heard him Indian who's mad. Yeah. It is not pleasant. Yeah. When you mess with it, you
get fired up.
Don't redeem it, you bastard! Don't redeem it. That's what it sounds like. You sound like Indians. They just start putting together a bunch of swear words and they don't know how to. It's like fuck a bitch, asshole, you liquor mother. Don't redeem it. Like that. That's exactly what it sounds, and that is what's gonna happen. Tying it back in, we have Vivek. We can't have him calling Putin a motherfucker, liquor, bitch, asshole. Don't redeem it. You know,
I think that kind of worked with Trump though.
But Trump can negotiate. Trump was a sales guy.
The art of the deal.
Dude, Trump was a sales
Isn't Vivek a business guy? Like, what's his background?
So Vivek, I think he had like a biomedical company.
Okay.
They went public. He was on, I don't know, have you seen the show Mad Money before? With like
Yep.
the bald guy who predicts stocks
Dave Ramsey.
incredibly wrong.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you know, he's the guy who's going to tell you do not invest in GameStop
Yeah.
for like 3 days, and those 3 days are when the whole Wall Street.
And then it happens. He's like, get in on it, and then it tanks.
Yeah,
that's
that's yeah. So he was on his show. So he's not running the company anymore, and it's actually funny that company's trying to distance himself from Vivek.
Okay.
Just a bunch of non-patriots, man.
Right.
They're trying to distance himself, but that was his background. He was a businessman, entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I don't know where he actually stands in terms of polling right now, but that's kind of his whole background. He was an entrepreneur, business guy, no political background, very intelligent person.
Yeah.
Very intelligent.
I think in general, that's kind of the way to go now, is someone whose career is not politics.
I don't want a politician in the White House. They all suck.
Yeah, they're lame. Like you mentioned DeSantis.
Yeah.
Like he's lame.
He's tanking in the polls.
He's tanking, and it's because he's doing like the whole politician thing. Like I think because him naturally, like his authentic self is a grumpy white who like fucking hates Disney because they're a bunch of liberal fucks, and he's like fighting wars of attrition with Disney Co. in Orlando. And he's like, get your business that makes Florida a bunch of money the fuck out of here because you made Snow White fucking Mexican or whatever.
Yeah,
like he's an angry fuck. And I think that would play a lot better. But like he goes to these things and he's like, oh, I'm Ron DeSantis' family man, and I love this country. And it's like, that's lame. No one cares about that.
Same thing happened. That big shift happened with Trump. And you remember Jeb Bush? Jeb.
Poor Jeb.
Low energy Jeb, man. Greatest compilations to ever exist on the internet. The Trump versus Jeb Bush wars were absolutely incredible.
That was. Do you ever watch The Daily Show?
Trevor Noah,
and then before it was Jon Stewart. Hasan was on it. That'll be our little segue, but I used to love The Daily Show, and they would always make fun of Jeb because his poster, like people would put posters and it'd be like Jeb with an exclamation point. So it's like Jeb. It's like, but he's not fucking. There's no exclamation point in his existence. Like he's just very like fucking Bush.
I know. That's the one thing. Trump does not need to compete in these debates to win the Republican primary.
Yeah.
I would like to see Vivek as the vice president. Then I will actually go and wait in a voting line. Yeah. Right? I can't vote for a brown dude to be a leader of the free world. That's not going to happen.
I think as a negotiating strategy,
incredible.
So like you send the vice president in, right? And he's like your buffer. And so he goes and just grinds on you. Like fucking, like you're saying, like, give me the fucking gift card. Like this isn't happening. And then you bring in Trump, who's the closer. And so that buffer has just worn these guys down with fucking bullshit and monotonous. And then Trump comes in and they're like, these people are hurting for a deal because they just dealt with this fucking Indian guy for like weeks. And then Trump comes in and just closes those fuckers. I like that.
No.
That's a good ticket.
And then also, Vivek's a very intelligent guy. Indians are all good on math, right? Like Vivek can quickly. Trump's very like emotional, like
like he has like yin and yang.
He has like that kind of gut feeling this is going to be a good deal, but sometimes that gut feeling just doesn't work out, right? And like you can't. Now Vivek, he's going to bring that batting average to almost 100%.
Yeah,
right. He's like, Mr. President, don't do it, right?
Yeah. They're going to complement each other very well,
very well.
But I think where they would get into trouble is Trump's got an ego. And if Vivek starts getting credit for shit, he's not going to like that.
Well, he didn't do that much.
Yeah.
Well.
I told him to do that. That wasn't him. And then it would be a whole thing. But we were just talking about The Daily Show, and so this guy did The Daily Show. I watched him a couple times on it. I can't pronounce his name, how he does it, but Hasan Minhaj. So about a month ago, the New Yorker came out with this article that was like, it essentially painted like he lies in all his comedy.
Yeah.
He's full of shit. He's making all this stuff up. They cited like an anthrax story where he got anthrax in the mail, but it didn't turn out to be anthrax.
Yeah.
There was another one, like an FBI recruiter was like targeting Middle Eastern guys. And and then there were a couple others that are escaping me at the second. But do you remember?
Yeah, so those were the three main. So it was the prom story. There was
The
three
prom
main,
one. Yep.
There was the three main stories. The prom story of when a white girl's family told them that they can't take pictures together because they don't want family back home to see it.
Yep.
You had the anthrax one, the envelope that nearly hit the daughter or did hit the daughter, and then you had the FBI. So yes, those are the three correct stories. So yeah, this article came out a month ago. Now Hasan's response came out about a week ago, I believe.
Yeah.
And I want to be very clear because there is two sides of this coin I do want to talk about. In terms of the PR move,
Yeah.
Hasan did a phenomenal job. In terms of defending himself, the video he put together was very well done. It was incredibly articulate. He's a very smart guy, right?
It's well, you can tell he's from this Daily Show trend of comedy, because like that thing where they're sitting at the desk and there's the graphics.
Yeah.
Like that started on the Daily Show.
Yeah.
And so it's very like, I felt like I was watching him do an episode of The Daily Show, and like you said, super articulate, very clearly a very intelligent guy.
Yes.
And I liked his point at the end. This is kind of like burying the lead or whatever, but just like, there are way more important things going on.
Exactly. So first of all, it's the New Yorker. People in New York don't have lives, so that's why.
Right.
But there's two sides of the coin I wanted to specifically talk about,
Okay.
a little bit more of a deeper convo. One, so there's obviously the comedian aspect of like lying.
Yeah.
Which, if you're not allowed to lie in your stories, I have no material. I lie so much, right? So there's that. But then there's also on the flip side where it's like his comedy is like a TED Talk almost.
Yes.
Where it's very, very political. And every piece of art has like a political meaning behind it, whether you can, for the most part, right? Like,
yeah. Like if you go, like, so I went to a very liberal university, and a saying there was everything is political.
Exactly.
Like everything you do. And even if you're saying, so like me saying I don't vote, they would say that's a political thing. Like everything is. And so I don't know how much I agree with that, but like you're saying, there's a political tinge that can be read into with anything.
So yeah, my thing was, listen, as the comedian aspect, it is stand up.
Yep.
He should be able to lie as much how much he wants to.
Yeah.
It's comedy. You have to not everything that happens at site is it's just not right. It takes a lot of writing. It takes right. So there's that. But then the other part of it for me was like the famous Frenchman Dave Chappelle loves talking about Jussie Smollett, right?
Yeah.
There's like that when you like create and fabricate stories like that, it hurts people who are actually going through that. And then also, right, it's just a load of barn. People just don't like hearing it, right? They just don't like hearing fabricated things of how this country is like people don't like being called a racist.
So I'll say, as a white dude, like the Jussie thing is annoying to me.
It was annoying to everyone,
right?
Yeah.
Because like obviously there's shit, there's problems, right?
Yes.
But it's like and as from the other side, it's like you don't want to give people ammunition to be like, oh, that's a load of bullshit. Look at the Jussie thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like you can't. That's a losing move in terms of the discussion, because people who don't want to have the conversation can just dismiss it.
Yes.
Because they're like, oh, it's just a bunch of fucking bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all bullshit, and then they conflate it.
It gets to now, like I said, I'm not comparing what he did to because Jussie Smollett was just a big fat lie.
Right. And this is comedy.
Yeah.
It's artistic.
But like I said, and it would be hypocritical for me to say, like, I don't like it, like when people do this, because I love George Carlin.
Yep.
Obviously, Dave Chappelle's newer stuff is very political.
Yep.
Like, it would be hypocritical for me to pick and choose.
Yep.
Even if I didn't like the jokes per se, right? But I'm more so on the side, like, I don't even think he needed to apologize this much, because if I was in his situation,
I agree.
I have a 9/11 joke, right? It's one of like, if someone's like, that didn't happen, I'll be like, I like to apologize. I do the whole McGregor thing to absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't, like, I would have won that angle. Like I said, he's 40, very professional, very smart.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more so on the comedy side. People who are mad about this are fucking losers.
It's a weird thing to be upset about.
Right. And for the people who are like micro mad at it, right, I get where they're trying to come from, but you can't conflate comedy and like, you there's a way to do it, but you can't like mix comedy with like a political thing and take it too seriously. Comedy's not meant to be taken seriously, but it's just tougher in his case
Right.
because it's very TED Talk like.
And so, and that's, I think, where the apology comes from. Because
Okay.
I think if you were to get him and get a couple beers in him or whatever,
Yeah.
and I don't know if he drinks, like, but whatever. But he seems like he might not. But anyways, like, get a couple beers in him, and it's like, so, like, are you really fucking sorry? And he'd be like, fuck no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I just kind of, doing some damage control, and this article made me out, like, his words made me out to be a psycho, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you have to kind of come and show a reasonable face to sort of do some damage control there. It's like PR stuff, right?
Yes.
And so there's that angle, but I'm losing my train of thought here a little bit, but what were we just talking about? I'm sorry.
The angles he took to what do you call it? The angles he took to like respond to, like, to apologize.
Yeah, so I think it kind of comes from this Daily Show background, right? Because like you said, his comedy is very political, and the Daily Show is like political comedy. Like, that's what it is. And so that's kind of his genre, you could say.
And it's fine.
And
like,
so I think you have to be, especially these days where everyone's so charged with that stuff, you have to be a little bit more serious. You know what I mean? Because like when Bill Burr does a bit about, like, I don't know if you've seen his most recent special at Red Rocks.
Yeah, I've seen it.
But the thing about like lesbians and how lesbians and dudes have more in common, we should like hang out more. And like if someone takes offense to that, he can just be like, fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm Bill Burr. I do shit jokes is what he says all the time, right? This, he's doing material about, politics and things that people believe very strongly about. And so he's being a little bit more sensitive, which I appreciate. He's a very smart guy. And I think his audience, he's like tailoring the response to his audience a little bit. It's a little bit more, I would assume his audience is a little bit more left-leaning, a little bit more intelligent, educated. And so he's tailoring that because, like, if his audience were a bunch of 20-year-olds like us, you know what I mean?
Like,
it would be like, fuck you.
Imagine him trying to do like one of his bits out of Shane Gillis.
Right, right. It'd be like, no one would understand what's going on. They'd be like, what?
And adding on to that, see, Hasan is also a guy who testifies in front of Congress, right? Like, he clearly cares about people.
Yes.
So it is, even for me, like, I'm the same. I'm not Muslim, but I'm the same skin color as him, right?
Yeah.
I am all for. All right, I have a joke about, getting sniffed out at an airport by a dog, right? Getting racially profiled.
Yeah.
Here's the backstory on that joke. It was me and my dad. We were at the airport. The joke literally started off as my dad just getting pulled aside because he kept trying to go through the thing and they didn't have his belt was on and he didn't realize it. And it was just not funny.
Right.
And it's fucking boring, right? And then obviously the dog, like that joke became very funny. But like I had to lie a lot to do it. That's what comedy is. Like, dude, no comedian is. So, but for him, I get why. And we're micro picking. Like, this is not. I'm gonna go in the shower and jerk off after this. Like, I don't care. You know what I mean? I really don't. But we're just for the sake of the conversation. For him, I guess like there is like a level. It's like, all right, you want to, talk about really deep stuff. If you're not going to use other people's stories, right, and you're going to use your own to create victimization for like a whole group, I kind of get where that anger is coming from other people. Like, I understand, but the comedian in me is like, dude, it's comedy, it's art, it's stand-up. He's having fun.
So I'll say, so here's an example. So in college, I took a class on, it was called African American Literature, right? And so just listen. And so this isn't going to be as bad as you think it is. And so we read a bunch of books, obviously, written by black authors. And a lot of them were from the perspective of like, racism is real in America and they're fiction.
Yes.
Right. And if you're mad about someone creating a fictional story with what his word is emotional truth, right? And then, the New Yorker is like, that's a bullshit thing. It's like, that's actually a true like in terms of storytelling, like,
yes.
like I don't know, you just anything you read or watch, like that's not exactly even those movies that are based on a true story, right?
Yeah.
That's not exactly how
100%.
everything happened, but
Yeah.
the beats and the emotional moments of the story, like that's what matters, and that's actually like that's the truth they're trying to convey. Like
Yes.
it's art. It's not like you're not reading a history fucking textbook.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And listen, I'm on Hasan's side 100%.
100%. Yeah.
100%. I'm just saying, like, with like Jussie Smollett,
Yeah.
right? Like people should
Different
be completely be mad about that, right?
Yeah.
Because that's like a whole stage thing. I'm, like I said, 100% leaning towards Hasan's side, but I get where like people like, you know, trailer trash people live in, right?
Yeah.
Where they might be mad. It's like, you know, like where people like, why is this getting blamed on me? It's not my fault.
Yeah.
But it is, like you said, it is art. It's the emotional truth behind it, right? And at the end of the day, one of the key factors of making something funny is like comedy being relatable. Everybody knows like the stereotypes with Arabs. Everyone knows the stereotypes with this group. Everyone knows it, right? So it's easy to convey in that sense.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like I said, I 100% agree on you. It's a weird thing that this was even an article in the first place.
Yeah. Well, it's the wider thing here is, you know, the traditional media thing of like the New Yorker is like it's a magazine that does, I mean, they used to do like when Hemingway was writing and shit, like a long time ago, like they would post his stuff. Like he would write a short story and it would come out. They used to do like very artistic. That's kind of their angle. It's like an artistic magazine. And so I guess, you know, they used to do really cool stuff, but all that traditional kind of media is dying. I don't know why I just highlighted that, but
could you imagine if like the New Yorker did like the same type of hit piece, but instead on Theo Von?
Right, like
like it's like did you actually have a friend who wore a T-shirt made out of wood?
Yeah,
it's like come on, dude.
Like I'm gonna say for our listeners here, if you go to a comedy show and you think it's all 100% factually true, I have news for you. It's not. Like it's just not, and that's okay. It can still be funny, and I just, you know,
no, you're
like I was gonna ask, and like your Mexico bit too, not true.
No, not even close.
Like not true. Have you ever even been to Mexico?
No, I've been to Mexico.
Okay, there
the
you
bit
go.
no. So here's okay. So the joke is we went to Mexico. We had a gun pointed at us, right?
Right.
And then do you know how I came up with that bit? So one, I had a story with my friend. Me and him, when we went to like a massage, we found out we just left, right?
Yeah.
So I was trying to think something like that, and then I was like, dude, what's like? I just Googled. I think I did like Google Translate like the word molest, and it did like Spanish to English. I'm like, all right, I just had a ding click in my head.
Yeah.
Right, and it, like, dude, it's not.
But you're making it's a play on words.
But fun fact, so the owner of the bar, he came up to me after. He's like, dude, I had a crazy story like that where he was like in a place and like the feds hit him and stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like people, like I said, it's something like people can like relate to in a sense. It was a funny story. Like I started off the bits like, who here's been to a brothel before, like that, right? It's a fun story. It's a play on words, but like, dude, like, yeah, you're batshit stupid if you think everything is truth,
right? Like
go read an autobiography if you want the fucking truth.
And just
dude.
like knowing you, it'd be funny if someone's in the audience and they were like, "Oh, this guy goes to brothels." Like, fucking, like that's just not. It's not even close.
It's like, listen, not to toot my own horn, but it's like, dude, I'm 23. I'm doing all right for myself. I'm not ugly. I don't need to go to a fucking brothel.
Right.
You know,
like,
you know what I mean?
It's it would be funny if someone leaves the thing and they're like, "Oh, that."
And they all knew it was fucking bullshit, too,
I would
dude.
hope so.
Like me, like someone with their life on the line saying, "Can I suck your dick?" Like,
right,
come on, dude.
Right. Or you know, what'd be even funnier too is someone leaving and they're like, "That guy was so fucking full of shit." They're like mad about it. Like, you know what I mean? They're like, "This guy's lying. This guy's lying at this open mic on a Wednesday night."
Well, I don't know if you were there when I got heckled at the open mic. I made
Yeah.
it was a horrible joke. The joke stunk. It was like one of my first jokes ever. It stunk. Like, I'm not saying it was a good joke.
Yeah.
But he was like, "Oh, so you're also..." the joke was the concept of the joke. I'm not gonna say it again. Was like, I'm not gonna abandon my kid because I'm not black. It's a horrible joke. It sucks. It's not. It was not funny at all.
Right.
Right. The writing was terrible around it.
Yeah.
Right. And then the guy, like, it being comedy, it's like it's not serious. I'm not having a fucking kid, right? I would never let putting my valuable semen into a stripper, which was what the story was based around.
Right.
And then the guy was like, "Oh, so I guess you're a racist." I'm like, "Oh, brother, here we fuck." And I was just,
Well, and it's what was annoying about it to me, just watching it happen, is that guy was doing a bit 10 minutes before that and trying to work. He was a comedian.
No. He did his bit after. He did
Oh,
his
was it?
bit
Okay.
after, and I remember I was sitting in the. You went to go sit with your friend, I believe.
Yeah. I
And
saw
was
a guy.
sitting in the- I was sitting in the front, and he just started going after India.
I remember that. And so I was sitting back with this guy that I knew. I knew this guy from high school. I hadn't seen him in years. He just was at this thing. I was like, holy shit. So I went and talked to him. And then we were watching this guy like get mad at you. We're like, what the fuck?
And I was chilling. I was like, he was like,
Right.
"So you guys don't use toilet paper?" And I was like, yep, 100%. Like I was like, dude, thanks for the material. I'm gonna take this.
Right. I use my hand. I grab it and
He was like, he said something like the Ganges River, and he was just trying to be like a smartass with me, and like it just wasn't working.
Yeah, and that's what was weird about it to me, because if you do stand up, like you're gonna write jokes that suck and you're gonna go do them and they're gonna bomb. And it's like there's a lack of understanding there from someone who actually does the thing.
Yeah,
especially an open mic on a Wednesday fucking night
at like 11 o'clock.
Like
dude.
he didn't pay for these tickets. You
No,
know what I mean?
exactly.
Like, it's not like he's like, oh, I want my money back. It's like you're just here. So I don't know.
No, agreed. It was. Yeah, dude, that was a weird fucking night, bro. That was the only time I've ever been. I mean, I've gotten like grunts before.
Right, but like a heckle. Like a.
Yeah, no, I've gotten a.
This guy stinks.
When I was at Stand Up Live, so my barber, he came to the show. I had the whole Down syndrome bit. And like, this is my thing. I want 50% of the audience to die of laughter and 50% to be mad at me.
Yeah.
That's how I approach these shows, and it's worked very well for me. I was doing the Down syndrome thing, and he said his table, they were laughing. Like a lot of tables, there was like one table. He said he was pretty sure they had it.
Though there was, we were sitting in the back.
Yeah.
And they're throughout, and it was interesting because like there were groans and laughs like throughout the thing, and it's like different groups for different jokes. So like they kind of cherry pick what they want to be mad at. You know what I mean?
When I so I did.
It's not like I care about everyone. It's I care about fucking my shit.
And it's comedy, like
Which is how it is.
Like I mean, I've heard people say Dave Chappelle sucks. I've heard people say Bill Burr. I was talking to my
subjective,
friend, right? And I'm like, okay, like it's obviously like saying Dave Chappelle sucks is crazy behavior, right? That's you're just mentally saying Bill Burr sucks again, crazy behavior.
Yeah.
But it is subjective. I mean, there was this too. I did that Down syndrome bit at another place, and one guy in the crowd was dying of laughter, right?
Yeah.
Because he sports betted, right? Go on my Instagram and find the bit and go like and comment it, jackasses, right? He was dying of laughter, and then there was a lady who came to the show, and her kid was in the and her kid had autism, Down syndrome, and she which I think is crazy to bring to an open mic comedy, not an open mic. It was a show, but it was like not like there was no like big names on the just the Arizona's, whatever, and. It was one of those things where I was like, I looked at her kid left with their dad, I think, but I was like, Steven told me, he was like, yeah, that guy, like, it's that table, they're all sports bettors, like, kind of around my age, they were fucking loving it. And, and he's like, that lady, like, wanted to stab you, like, get up and just stab you in the middle of the show. And I love that, right?
That's how it is,
That's what I love. It's the same thing with, like, a bunch of female comedians where it's like, they just want to talk about, like, I don't get the sex stuff at all, but females love it. And hey, they flock towards their own. Amy Schumer is a big comedian. You have to respect it, right? As an art, you have to respect what they're trying to do as an art. You know,
it's like anything, especially anything artistic, but anything really. Like you can't make everyone happy. Like if that's your goal, you're just not gonna do anything because everyone's different. But
it's a fun thing. I just want a drink to get thrown at me one day.
Yeah, you do it long enough, it'll probably happen.
And there was also that one lady. I don't know if you remember. She was like heckling, yelling, not funny to everybody at Casey's. Were you there that night?
I was. Yeah. What was her name? Like Nancy or some shit.
I don't know. And I was like, she admitted she likes black dick, and I was like looking around. I was like, who's gonna save comedy tonight? Like, who's gonna take this lady to the bathroom?
That's another thing is like at these open mics, like
Yeah, heckling at an open mic is disgusting.
well, it's not even that. It's like some of the characters you'll see, like just the audience, you know, because you're out for context. Like, so this one's on a Wednesday night at 9 o'clock is when it starts. And by the time she's, you know, all drunk and heckling fucking people doing this shit for free, like it's 11:30 midnight.
Yeah.
And like this lady is out here blasted on a Wednesday night. It's like, I don't know. I think you should be looking at your own life, you know? Like
It's like, I mean, her whole life. Yeah, it's
a weird place to be.
I mean, heckling people just trying to practice material at a fucking dive bar in Tempe, Arizona.
Honestly, you know, if you're dumb and you don't understand comedy and like you don't get what you're seeing, that's fine. But it's for me, what's a weirder behavior almost is being in the position to do that. Like your name is Nancy, and this is an older lady too. Example, she's like probably 60.
Yeah, 60.
And she's out there and she's got a low cut shirt. She's like out looking to fuck. It feels like. And she's hammered on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me.
She was single. She said she was single.
Right. Like I don't know. There's a sequence of life decisions that gets you to a point where you're at a dive bar at a strip mall on a Wednesday night at 11:30 getting blasted by booze and by open mic comics. Like that's a lot of decisions. It's not just, you know what I mean?
Nah, I wonder what the stuff is like in like how hecklers are handled in like more like famous like open mics like Comedy Cellar when like those guys go test material and stuff like that. You know, because like those guys go there to bomb too. They're just there
100%,
to practice stuff. So I'm always kind of curious about how people respond to that. I know. Hopefully, like in like a few years, we'll have some really good like bombing stories. But that's my only. I mean, I've bombed a few times, but that was the worst one was obviously the gay guy who like sat right up close to me.
That's one of my favorite fucking stories ever. Like it's so funny because I was.
Here, let's tell the story.
Yeah, okay, so
here I'll let me explain from my point of view, and then you explain it from yours.
Right,
okay,
you go first. You go first.
So we're very new into comedy at this point. This was like December of last year, maybe.
It was early, very early. Like we had been doing it for.
This was my first bit, I think, ever.
A handful of weeks. Like
no, this is our first week actually performing, dude. First or second week actually performing. This is before Mic Drop became Mic Drop. This is when they were Improv Mania.
This was like
December,
in the first month. Yeah.
This was December, yeah. So this was December of this year, and I'm trying out a bit. We were last. Now, I still remember, and it's still a great feeling. One guy really enjoyed it, right, in the back. But it was a bomb. It was not a good bit, right? It was very hyper-specific. And this one guy, when he was up, he just kept hitting on me. And I was very uncomfortable. And I see your dumbass looking, just giggling like a little gay boy, like just like laughing at me. So then he goes, and it's my turn. I go up next, and he brings up all of his stuff and sits right in front of me. Or everyone's in the back, everyone's chilling. It's an open mic. He brings up all of his shit and just sits, like, just stares at me very viciously, right? Like he's gonna eat me or something. And
literally, yeah, you're asshole.
Fucking dude, my cheeks were clenched, dude. I was scared.
So here's from my perspective, and so a little background about Rohan because you might not know him. He is. So he did this earlier in the show, right? He likes to. A lot of the, I forget what we were talking about, but you're like, that's gay. You know what I mean? Do you remember what it was very early?
Did I say that's gay? It's like everything.
Exactly. He's like, there's a lot of friend groups have that friend that's like, that's gay. And they sort of get that gay conversation started and everyone sort of jumps in on the gay shit. This guy right here. And so knowing that, so there's this guy, really funny guy.
Incredibly funny.
Super fucking funny, dude. Goes up, does his bit. And a lot of it's about how handsome Rohan is, which I agree. I mean, look at the guy. But, and so he does pretty well. He crushes it.
No, it was a dead room. That's why he was like kept picking at me because, dude.
Oh, you're right. It was everyone
a dead
left.
Room. It was a dead room
to go to the next one.
Yeah, it was. He wasn't. He's a funny comedian. Let's not say that. He's very funny. But it was just a dead room, and no one was really paying attention at this point.
Let me tell my truth, my story.
Yeah.
But, so we're sitting there, and so he's talking about how handsome Rohan is, and it's like it is like overt. It is like, oh, damn. And I think he called it like this brown fella. And he was very excited about how good looking Rohan was. And Rohan goes up right after him. And they call him Rohan Kapoor. And he goes up there. And this guy gets super excited. Like, I saw the expression on his face go like, ooh. And you hear him loudly go, I'm sitting right up front. And he goes, sits dead front fucking center. And like no one, the room is empty at this point. So it's like people are along the back, just sort of waiting their turn. And then it's Rohan up on stage. And this guy sitting in front of him like this. And just taking in everything that he's saying. And you see Rohan up there. And he is so uncomfortable. like he said his butthole was clenched. Like everything was clenched. Like he's just fucking like so uncomfortable. And then he gets, and I'm sitting in the back cracking up because as I said, Rohan's the guy who's like, that's gay. And so he's getting oogled by this guy. And then he comes back and he's like, God, that was so fucking annoying. Like this was so fucking stupid. And I'm just cracking up. It was so funny.
I don't know if you remember this, but I forgot my bit halfway through.
Yeah, he was like forgetting shit.
I forgot my bit halfway through. I don't know if you remember this, and I did that same joke like a week before or something like that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I forgot my bit. No, I did it like the day before, and I did it like a week before, and I literally forgot my bit halfway through because I was so like on edge. I was like, dude, is this guy gonna? He was a pretty big guy. Is this gonna tackle me and spread my cheeks, bro? This is insane behavior.
Yeah, you would, if it got to that point, you'd be like in caveman like fight or flight mode.
Oh.
Like you would have to like do some serious adrenaline, like get this guy off me. It would not be like, it wasn't like a dainty guy who could just kind of like push away.
Nah, I do the Dylan Dennis mic throw.
Right. Yeah. So that's a good Rohan story.
Yeah, that guy's not in Arizona no more, I don't think. Nice guy, though. I talked to him.
Yeah, he's a good dude. Super funny guy.
Yeah, incredibly funny.
Super funny guy. Very like huge personality too. Like very a lot of charisma.
Yeah.
A lot of energy. Good dude.
Yeah, I don't know where he is now, but I haven't seen him at a mic in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else we need to touch up on? I think we really got to. So the thing is, we don't have a timer anymore.
I was gonna. So for this episode, I was like, I'm gonna set my watch to a timer, and I completely forgot.
Yeah. So we used to have a timer when we used to do these things on Zoom.
Yeah.
And fun fact, because like I said, same dynamic, Trump Indian. All right. I was like, dude, listen, we can't go over the time because we lose the hours, right?
Yep.
So same thing. I was in his ear like, hey, time to cut this shit real quick, right? Time to cut this shit.
Because we had a certain amount of hours that we could use the software.
So as you can see, we got a place, a little studio here.
And there's no cap now.
Yeah.
And so like last week we watched the Fury fight for like an hour. Didn't post that because it was boring as shit.
It would have been fun to do live stream. So actually, let us know this. If you guys want to see us live stream fights, that might be, I think that's more of a live stream type of thing where we can talk. 100%. We can talk. Yeah, we didn't post it.
Hey, chat, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But so we did that, and then we did another hour and a half that we ended up posting, and it was like, and it did not feel like we were sitting there for 2.5 hours. And so
no, not at all.
It's 11:30 right now. I feel like we
started at 10:30.
10:30, so it's probably been like an hour.
Yeah.
Around that.
I mean, unless you want to talk about the sales of the Nagano and Fury fight. Do you see the numbers that came out?
I saw it was 75,000 buys.
Oh, I thought it was less.
That's a terrible number.
No, I mean, the number shows. I thought it was less than that, too.
Maybe. I saw Chael said it was 75.
Okay, so can we just pull up the numbers real quick on the computer? Yeah. I mean, it was now Nagano made more money than he would have made in the UFC.
Well, I don't know if he did, whoever put this thing on got fucked.
Yeah.
So if he had like a guaranteed salary before, right? And it wasn't pay-per-view points. Oh god. Okay.
No, so that's what I'm saying. It was significantly worse.
Well, it was 11.5 plus 56.
All right, about 60.
So that's
About 70.
Yeah, just shy of 70. So that's really bad.
How much did how much did Jake Paul and like Nate Diaz do?
I would assume this one is not public, but maybe it will be.
450,000.
I don't buy that.
Nah.
I don't buy that personally.
I'm gonna say this though: some of Jake Paul's fights were much more promoted than
way better marketing behind what he does. And it's a real bummer because Francis like kicked ass.
I was gonna say that if you tell somebody right before the fight starts, like, hey, this fight is gonna happen.
Yeah.
A heavyweight MMA who's never fought is about to take on one of the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time, and he might win. Right? Like that fight was from obviously our legal live stream didn't hold up. Our very legal live stream didn't hold up very well.
Right.
But the story and what actually happened in the fight was incredible. It was the actual fight itself was boring, but the story behind it is like what actually happened. If you were gonna explain it to somebody, it was an incredible opportunity. Fight.
And so this is like a trend with Francis now. Is he has these, and it's a bummer because he's super interesting guy. Like when he went on Rogan, like his story is like, it is moving.
Yeah.
Like, and he's just an impressive human. Like, it seems like a really good guy too. But it's a trend with him now. Like, so he had this fight with Surreal Gone.
Yeah.
And you know who Max Kellerman is.
Yes.
He's been covering boxing for a long time. And when that fight was booked, Max Kellerman was like, this is going to be the biggest heavyweight fight in the history of the mixed martial arts. It's going to put mixed martial arts, like, it's going to take it up another notch. Because the story was like, Francis, who is this insane talent with huge hands, is fighting his old teammate who is like similarly talented, but like on the opposite end, like a heavyweight who moves like a middleweight, just like super fast, super technical. And there's bad blood between their coaches, and they used to be teammates. And there was like a clip of, you know, Francis walking by him and like not acknowledging him. Like there was so much to sell this fight on. And Francis did not sell it for shit, and neither did Surreal. Like none of them did anything, and it was super underwhelming. And Chael, who is Jesus Christ come again, was saying the same thing. Like he was so excited for this. He was like, this is going to, because he loves the sport. Like he's in the press now, and he really is invested in making this sport huge. And he was super let down too, because neither of them went and did what Chael was so good at and made this thing interesting when it really could have been. And so there was that's a dud. This Fury thing's a dud. And so people are like, you know, you see like, oh, Dana's mad that Francis won this. Like Dana doesn't give a shit, because like if he put this thing on, if he was a partner like he was with Conor, and the Floyd thing, he wouldn't have made any fucking money.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe Francis got this big check and had a guaranteed salary, and it wasn't based on pay-per-view points or whatever. I don't know the details of that, but if he did, whoever put this thing on lost a ton of money, and they're not going to work with him again, because no one bought this thing, and they're out of business, whoever put this thing on.
Well, that's going to be an interesting conversation for the PFL, because they have him signed. Right. And it's like, one, who the fuck are you going to put him against? Because his best course of action, and he does deserve the opportunities, is just to fight other heavyweight boxers. Right. But in MMA, he's not going to be fighting anybody. Like, no one's going to fucking want to fight in a league owned by Wiz Khalifa and Jake Paul. Yeah. Right? And then, like I said, the PFL, they're not going to be able to really do much. And from his conversations he did have with Rogan, the PFL doesn't have much say or equity in his boxing matches. No. So the loser out of this is the PFL, because, once again, he couldn't sell a fight. I want to actually go back to that point where you said like they couldn't sell the his other UFC fight. Covington and Masvidal, both way less of a fighter. Like, they're not nearly as talented as them. Yeah. They sold shit out of that. Yes. Even to the average person, it's like, oh, these guys used to be roommates. Now they hate each other. You saw the buildup these guys did, right? And that buildup created real bad blood. So when that fight hit, it was you know, they just couldn't do that. Like even that fight should have been like everyone, like it should have gotten the type of hype that Masvidal Covington got.
It should have gotten more. And not only does it have that same storyline that they could have, but they are both Surreal and Francis. Like they look like Greek fucking gods. Like it's like two superheroes fighting. Just the aesthetics of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like it's just, and it's a bummer because, like I said, like Francis seems like an awesome guy. You know, very what's the word? Very not very charismatic.
Kind.
But like very, very kind and just a good guy. And it's just a bummer, man.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, hopefully he gets like a better team around him to help him promote these things a little bit better, because he clearly is not. He doesn't have that flamboyant personality that like a Kobe or McGregor or Chael or like even like Izzy kind of in a sense, right?
Yeah.
Like Izzy's not as like electric, but like Izzy's like out doing a bunch of interviews. He's marketing himself to be like kind of like a social media star in a sense, right?
Yep.
Even like Pereira, when he and Izzy fought, right? There was like the backstory of Izzy kept on losing to him, and it was like he's like, all right, gotta get my lick back. Like there was a lot more build up. It was I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what Francis does, because I don't know. I mean, I think now maybe the conversation becomes like, all right, he lost to Fury. Can he beat Wilder? Right?
Uh-huh.
Can those two go power punch for power punch with each other?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think also part of Fury fighting it was also just like the entertainment aspect. He's a little surprised. I don't know. Fucking boring guy. It was a good story for the fight. The actual fight was kind of boring aside from that one knockdown.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, that's what boxing is. The PFL is a big loser at the end of the day, is what I'm trying to say there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, that's all I really got.
That's all I got as well.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap up this episode. Once again, thank you guys for watching episode 24 of the In the Bank podcast. So just so I can put down a schedule, Sundays full episodes come out. I'm going to go Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We're going to have 3 clips per week. And then we're going to have probably like on Tuesday or a Thursday, we'll have like a actual 8-minute video, just our best part of the video. So that's probably going to be what our schedule looks like going forward. We're going to try to do live streams for big fights. We'll try to get some of our buddies in here as well.
Yep.
We're going to figure that out. So we'll, in our Instagram, you know, just make sure you guys follow us on Instagram for updates. You know, we don't need the number per se. We just need you guys to see what we're doing.
Yeah.
Jackson, do you have anything else?
No, we're good.
All right. Once again, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, comment. We'll send you crumble cookie. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.